Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. This is my tips and tricks guide for Shermie in the King of Fighters 15. Now, as always, these character guides, they're pretty big. They're pretty long. So there is timestamps all throughout the video, so you can skip to just whatever makes sense for you, because we're going to be covering a lot of topics. Some more beginner level, some more advanced, and a lot of points in between. So use the timestamps if you want, otherwise stick along for the ride, as we're going to start with Shermie's basics, her moveset. So to start off with our special moves here, the first thing, just looking at Shermie, if you don't know Shermie that well and you don't know what she's about, she's actually a grappler. So she has the Shermie Spiral, this is this guy right here, this is a frame 1 command grab. So the second you press the button is the second it comes out, like the exact frame. So like Street Fighter 5, if you know any Street Fighter, grabs take 5 frames to come out. Street Fighter 4 grabs take 2 frames to come out. In King of Fighters, it's a frame 1 deal. Also, on top of getting the frame 1 grab, it has a follow-up. That's quarter circle forward and kick when you do the follow-up, and you get a little bit more damage. Now, we'll talk about it more later in the video, but you don't always want to do the follow-up. If you let the move rock by itself, you just basically have a lot more advantage. The enemy gets up much slower than if you take the follow-up. So you have to choose whether or not you want damage or not. Also, if you do the EX version, the follow-up actually causes a little bit of a bounce, which will be repeated in some other moves. And this little bounce, you can get a follow-up from it. So you can be a little sweep, or it can be some more advanced stuff like running into certain moves, which is pretty difficult. So sweep's what you want to go for 90% of the time. But yeah, you get a little bit of a combo follow-up. Now, as a grappler, it turns out, you know, the grab kind of core to the identity of the character, right? So you'll be using this a fair bit, and we'll be talking about this a lot more later in the video. Next up, this is quarter circle back and punch is the Shermie whip. So this looks like a command grab, although it's actually a hit throw. This is blockable, but it does a fair amount of damage considering what it is for a single special move. It does about 133 damage, and it also is part of a lot of the combo structure of the character, not the least of which is when you release him with the German suplex, you can cancel into your level 1 super move. Mostly combo fodder, although there is a special particular thing about this, which we'll talk about later on in the video. Next up is the Shermie Clutch. This is Dragon Punch motion and one of your kicks. And this is your anti-air grab. So if someone's in the air, you can basically grab them and knock them down to the ground. And also has the follow-up like the base command grab does. So this move is invincible to air attacks. Someone tries to clonk you in the head, you can just go right through it clear as day, as you can see here. Now, the thing to note here is, while it is invincible to air attacks, even the light version, which is faster, it can miss, as you can see here. So if you're looking to specifically just knock people out of the air, you definitely want to do the EX version, as it's invincible, just like the light and heavy versions, although it connects a lot faster. Also, it has that follow-up. The EX version, when you do the follow-up, causes a little bit of a ground bounce, from which you can get a little bit of a combo after the fact. So the overall damage is pretty substantial. So it is your anti-air move. You will use it in some of your combos, but if you're looking to just purely rip people out of the air, the EX version is always the way to go, because it just simply will not miss in situations where the other two might. So next up we have the Shermie Shoot. So this is half circle forward and one of her kick buttons. And it's effectively a running grab. So wherever she is, she'll run forward and grab you. And it's a true grab. You cannot block this in any way, shape, or form. And it's very fast. Compared to other fighting games that have like running style grabs, this is much faster than any of them. We're going to talk about it later because it's going to deserve its own section. But in the majority of the situations you want to use this in, this is not humanly possible to react to, basically. By the time you can realize what it is, you've already gotten grabbed. So in a lot of weird ways, this might even be her primary grab. You might get this more than her actual quote-unquote normal command grab. We'll talk about it more in its own section, but the running grab is very, very good. And our final base special move is the Excel Spin Kick. So she basically does a little hop and then kicks you in the face. Simple enough, right? This is the light version. The heavy version goes much higher and does have the ability to cross up, as you can see. The light version can cross up as well, but only against people who are crouching. Versus the heavy version, doesn't matter if they're standing or crouching. One of the things about the move, since it leaves the ground to do the hop, it actually can go over certain fireballs that are very low to the ground. It can go over more normal fireballs as well, but only with the heavy version. The light version, not so much. Also, very important to know here, the heavy version actually is advantage on block. It's not a lot, it's only a few frames of advantage, but frame advantage on any move is generally fairly rare in this game. So just being able to know it's still effectively your turn, even if the move gets blocked, is a pretty big deal. The EX version also is one of your main combo starters, as it is a launcher, and you can, well, juggle basically any old thing from there. So a lot of times when you're going for like various hit confirm combos, this is exactly the move you're going to be going into. Now, talking about her supers. So first off, we have Shermie Shock. This is effectively your anti-air super, I guess you could call it. But realistically, you're only using this moves in combos, like no other reason. Off the Shermie Whip is the main thing you're going to be using the level 1 version off of, because it actually really doesn't connect off anything else, only really the Shermie Whip. The level 2 version is quite a bit faster in startup. So any EX that has a bounce to it, so say the command grab or the anti-air grab, you can actually get the level 2 after the fact, and you can get some pretty big damage, as you can see here. But that's about it. Like, for the most part, it's just combo fodder. You will not be using this move in like an actual anti-air situation. Now, Shermie Carnival. This is her supers, and it's just a heck of a lot of German suplexes. Now, it is very fast startup, and as you can see, it does a fair amount of damage, but you won't be doing this raw. Once again, this is another super that's pretty much for combos specifically. Like, say we look at the level 1 version, right? So this does, in total, 200 damage, which is not the worst. But if I did EX grab and just did a basic follow-up, that does 209 damage, and I spent half as much meter. And, you know, it's frame 1. You can't get faster than frame 1 grab anyways, right? So, like, if you want to use the super grabs, it's mostly for combos. The main use is off the anti-air grab. Do not do the follow-up. Do not, I'm stressing, do not do the follow-up. And then you can get the German suplex super after the fact. Generally speaking, this is how you're going to get most of your damage, if you're invested in Burning Bar for damage anyways. And finally, her climax. It's another anti-air grab, and it does a lot of damage. However, it's one of those situations, again, pretty much all of her super moves are for combos only. So an example here, if you are to use it, most of the time it's going to be after another super. Because being a climax, it freely goes from level 1s or level 2s into the level 3, so you get a lot of damage from it. You can use it as the most raw call out as an anti-air, I suppose, but generally speaking, that's not going to be the most valuable use of your bar. So now, what exactly is the game plan Shermie is going for? She is a grappler, yes, that is her effective archetype, but she's not only winning by the command grab. The fact that she's a fair bit faster than some of the other more grab-heavy characters in the game means you have a lot more mobility to work with. Her normals are definitely above average, her basic buttons. She has some of the better buttons in the game, and you're going to be using and abusing those as well. And when you get the grabs themselves don't do tons of damage, but they give you lots of opportunities to work with. And we're going to have multiple sections about those. So effectively, the very short-term game plan before we go into the bulk of the video is you're going to be bullying people with your above-average buttons, and you're going to make them scared to basically press buttons back, and the second they're too scared to press buttons back, they're going to get tossed. The toss itself, the grabs, are not the highest damage, but you're going to get a lot of opportunities for them. It's going to frustrate people, and as soon as they start getting frustrated, it's back to hitting buttons and getting them clonked on the head. Her general sense of pressure is pretty good, and effectively, once you bite in, it's going to be very difficult for them to get you off of them. Okay, so now let's talk Shermie's notable normals, her basic buttons that aren't special moves. So Shermie actually has a lot of amazing normals, not the least of which is basically everything to do with Heavy Punch. So we'll start here with Stand Heavy Punch. So it basically hits everything it looks like, effectively. It arcs at the top and works all the way down and beats the usual kind of triangle. So normally like pokes are good against hops. So if they try to like leave the air, they get smoked, right? But pokes kind of lose the lows. But the thing is, due to the angle, it also hits very low to the ground. So even people who are crouching will still get smacked in the face, right? And of course, people are standing, same deal. So it catches everything. It kind of breaks the triangle. It's just good against every kind of attack effectively. So this is a move. Well, I'm not going to say spam it because, you know, it's not invincible or nothing, right? This can be a bulk of a lot of your neutral. Just tossing this move out because it's very difficult for the enemy to get around. Now, it can't deal with full jumps so good. Like hops, it'll crush them, but full jumps, they're a little too high up, right? Thankfully, this is where Crouch Fierce Punch comes into play. Because for Crouch Fierce Punch, just goes straight up into the air. It's a massive no-fly zone. Like, almost no jump can contest this move. It is just simply too dominant, and it is also very fast for what it is. It's much faster than a lot of other people's comparable Crouching Fierce Punches that have anything to do like this. So if someone's too jump happy, this is your sniper cannon. Like, maybe you're not ready for the anti-air grab, right? Because that does involve a motion that takes more time to do, right? Versus just down in a button, which is very fast. So this is already great anti-air. So Crouch Fierce is great. Stand Fierce is great. Jump Fierce, also great. Good hitbox. It also compresses her. Like, she is just smaller in the air while she's doing this move, meaning it's actually harder to hit her. And it's her go-to cross-up as well. And unlike some cross-ups where they're better standing or they're better if the enemy crouches, this one, it doesn't care. It really doesn't care. If you're crouching or not, it doesn't matter. Shermie will cross you up for free. Now, if you're looking to cross up someone who's crouching, it's better to do the hop. But even a full jump will cross up just the same. It's one of the best cross-ups in the game. And frankly, just one of the best jump attacks in the game. So standing, crouching, or jumping, Heavy Punch is basically Shermie's miracle button. It does everything. Close Heavy Punch as well. Very good. Very fast for what it is. It's actually 5 frame startup. Her fastest normal period is 4 frames. This is Crouch Light Punch, and it's only 5 frames, so it's only 1 frame slower than her fastest normal. And of course, you know, it leads into bigger boy combos as well, so that's very good. Crouch Light Kick, also very good. Also 5 frames. And considering the range, it's very, very good. Just a solid little poke. Also, if you're on the ball, you just know what's going to happen, be it a punish, or you just feel it. It's also a really good max mode confirmation poke. If you know you're going to get it, you go into max and just slow run, and then that close heavy, once again, because it's so fast, you'll always get it. And then just kind of do whatever max mode combo you want to do from there. So Crouch Light Kick, also very, very good. Stand Light Kick also is a pretty decent normal here because it's basically just a little bit of a wall in front of the enemy. It's fairly fast for what it is. It's about 6 frames. So it is a good deal faster than the chop. So if you need speed to be of the issue and you don't really care about anything else, this does come out faster. Now, it's not special cancelable, sadly, so you're not going to be like doing like, you know, combos like that into a special. It is super cancelable though, and we'll talk about that later in the video because it does have its own merit in that regard. But if you're just looking for like a wall of active frames that enemy can't walk past, this is really good because it's 2 hitting, so it's just out there for a long time versus a single hitting move. And now going back to jumps here, we talked to Jump C is really good here, Jump Heavy Punch, but Jump CD, the power attack, this is Heavy Kick and Heavy Punch at the same time, is amazing. Definitely one of the best in the game, like if not even potentially the best in the game. It is just a massive wall of hitbox. It is so difficult to get around. It is so difficult to contest. If Shermie just wants to like run in and fling herself at the enemy and use Jump CD to mark the way, there's very little the enemy can actually do short of like an invincible move to stop it. It is just so strong. Also, being a power attack, if it is blocked, you are generally at some pretty decent frame advantage. So you can be fairly rest assured it is your turn after the fact if it's blocked. And if it's not blocked, well then, being a power attack, they're always knockdowns. And you work the enemy closer to the corner, and once you get to the corner, you know, a lot of fun things are possible, and your damage potential, combos, all that goes up. Jump CD is ridiculous. Also, do not be afraid to use it as a purely defensive tool, like running back or just neutral jumping with it, because you basically present a wall of giant active frames, and the enemy can just as easily bump themselves in the head while doing it. So, on offense and defense, it is a very, very strong move. So now this is just a quick little note just to help you out. Obviously enough, generally speaking how the game works, you do close normal into command normal, and then you get your big hit, whatever the big hit is, right? And Shermie is not one of the characters that gets much off lights. The only way she gets like anything off lights really is if she has meter to convert with the spin kick EX to juggle. Short of that, she doesn't get much off lights. So if you want the bigger hits thanks to the command normals, one little trick you can use to extend it is Crouch Heavy Punch. Crouch Heavy Punch, well, it hits from further away than Close Heavy Punch does, or Close Heavy Kick, and it also goes in to the command normal. So if you're looking to get just a little bit more range, from, you know, the basics and into whatever combo, you can actually do this and it'll work just fine. So say you're looking for like a big punish or something, but they're just a little too far away for that close heavy. Just keep in mind, you can do crouch heavy punch and it'll have just a little bit more range than the close heavy does. And you can go into all the same stuff. All right. So now, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the video, let's talk about her running grab, because it's actually basically her primary grab. This is the grab you're going to get most of the time. Compared to, I know, the main grab, which has its own benefits to be sure, right? But the thing here is the running grab, compared to other running grabs in any other fighting games, is just simply too fast to be perceived, and you will get hit by it. So the heavy and light versions have different startup, because the light version has less range, but the heavy version, well, it has more range, right? And the thing is, running from this far away for a grab is generally something you're never going to actually do, because from this far away, they have time to react. They can like hop out of the way or do a full jump or whatever. It is not unreasonable to expect the enemy to very easily see this and stop it from happening. But from this far away, not so much. So the light version, which is the fast version, which is the one you want to use most of the time, at literal point blank, it goes off in 11 frames. So you're not seeing that coming, right? That's fine. There's a couple things about this for one. So say you're a little further away, right? From about this far away, roughly, it'd be about 16 frames to hit because it takes a couple frames to travel. But 16 frames is still not perceivable by a human being. Like in Dragon Ball FighterZ, for example, the fastest class of command grabs is 17 frames, and those are considered unseeable. Like either you predicted it and jumped ahead of time or not, but you couldn't react to it. And this is faster than that by a frame, right? And here's the real beauty of it. So in this game, we have throw protection, where you can't just grab someone right after they get hit or block a move or whatever. It just doesn't work. Because it's just a few frames slower, right? You know, versus the 1 frame grab, you can actually do normals and get the move. So I can make you block crouch light kick. And, you know, you're going to want to start crouch blocking, right? Because I'm poking you out with this move. But I could poke you with this move and immediately cancel into the grab, and it will connect. You will not get your throw protection. It's fast enough that you effectively cannot react to it, but it is slow enough that it just barely gets around the throw protection. And you can do this off anything, really. Any little poke works out just fine, right? So you can threaten the enemy on the spot immediately. Am I going to keep poking you and pressing buttons, or am I going to immediately like cancel that normal and charge all the way in? Now, if you're literally point blank, it can whiff, because then there's not enough frames gone by for the throw protection to go away, right? But off any decently spaced move, you can get it. It's great. The damage is low. It's only 100 damage, right? So against the majority of cats, you can consider that 10%, right? Because most characters have 1,000 life. But you can get it over and over and over and over. Basically, anytime you can make them scared enough to block, because you're going to toss out one of your pretty good normals, that means you can, in a blink of an eye, toss them and then repeat the process. There's also setups off this, and there's going to be a whole section dedicated to this later in the video. But while Shermie Spiral is like the main event grab, the Shermie running grab is probably realistically the one you're going to get the most. So just keep that in mind. It's very good, and compared to other styles of grabs like this in other fighting games, it is superior. It is so fast. If you use it at roughly this distance, which is also the distance of your Titanic normals that you want to use, the second they hesitate is the second they get grabbed. Just one more thing just to really hammer it home. So once again, point blank, it's 11 frames, can't react to it. If you want to do it from roughly this far away, it's going to be like 15, 16, 17 frames, which is still not reactable, and that's from when you press the button. Shermie, the only tell she has is like when she puts her hands on the ground then runs forward. That's the tell, right? That's when you can like realistically see what's happening, and that happens like 5 frames into the move. So if from here you have like say 15, 16 frames to react from the button press, subtract that 5 and it's more like, you know, 11-ish frames. So I just really want to stress this. This is not reactable from the distances you want to use it at, so use and abuse it. Now, Shermie is a character without any projectiles, right? And lots of characters have projectiles in this game, and King of Fighters isn't like more new era fighting games. Fireballs are very much a threat. You don't got a million anti-fireball options, right? So how does Shermie deal with fireballs? So one, she does have her spin kick, right? Now the thing is, depending on when you react to the fireball, maybe you don't get enough air and you get smacked. Or even worse yet, they toss the kind of fireball they recover from and then they uppercut you before you land. Now, if you hit them, that's all well and great. And if they block, once again, this move is plus on block. So that's good. But here, we're using Robert as an example because his fireball's a little harder than average to get around, right? You can do a full jump, but full jumps are dangerous in this game because once again, you might get uppercutted or something. So you want to hop around it, but the problem is hops, well, his is a little higher up than average, so getting hops is hard. It's very difficult. But Shermie has some things to help with this. Her jump heavy punch, it shrinks her hurt box. Like, she becomes more compact. There's less of her on the screen, and this actually helps a lot. Because normally, hopping a fireball from Robert especially, very difficult. But thanks to our jumping heavy punch, easy as pie. Because once again, there's less of us on the screen. So normally where our toes kind of get smacked, our toes are no longer there to get hit. And we can go over it easy peasy. So when you're going over fireballs, just try to remember to do jump heavy punch. Because it'll let you hop over fireballs you normally cannot hop over because your toes get hit. So it just contracts your hurt box. Same deal, she actually has another option as well. Her jump power attack. It just basically makes her much more horizontal rather than vertical in the air. So in situations where her toes would get tapped by the fireball, it won't anymore. So either jump heavy punch or jump power attack. It works either way. It lets you hop over fireballs that normally you'd have to like full jump over because the hops aren't working. So keep those two moves in mind because on top of both being very good moves in and of themselves, they'll save your life when it comes to fireballs. Now, also calling back to earlier in the video about our notable normals, we used a stand light kick, this double hitting move. Now this move is very unfortunately not special cancelable. So I can't do like, you know, the usual combo stuff, all that kind of stuff, right? If I get it, nothing's gonna come out. But it is super cancelable, and that can be a pretty big deal. This means like random pokes can have a lot more teeth with the move. Because any random poke, then all of a sudden you can convert to a super grab and get some pretty decent damage out of it. Now, what I'm specifically going to suggest to you is this. If you have 2 bars or more specifically, then this should be a move that you're using a lot more as a basic poke. Because it gives you enough time to hit confirm the move. Single pokes, while they may be good, you can't use a single hit to confirm anything, really, realistically. But this is enough that you can see the hits connect and then, oh, I got my move, go into my super and directly from there. The level 2 version of the grab super, while obviously doing more damage than level 1, also has more range. So in situations where the level 1 will whiff, the level 2 version will not, as it'll basically have like a vacuum effect and pull the enemy in. So what you should do to practice this, now that you know this, go to guard, and basically set guard to random. So in situations where you just want to bully with this button, you know you have enough meter, just basically wait for the hits to come out and you want to pre-buffer your half circle forwards. So regardless if it hits or not, oh, I got it, good, right? And if they block, you don't touch anything, but if it hits, you go for it. Having the enemy guard set to random is just good general hit confirming stuff anyways. Like if you see the hits happen, then you go for your moves and your combos, all that kind of stuff. As you can see there, I did not do my EX until I saw the move connect, not if the enemy blocked. And this basically makes this tool a lot stronger. Once again, just while you're doing it, you buffer the motion in, and if you see it connect, then you press the buttons. And if it doesn't, then you don't. And basically this adds a lot more teeth to an otherwise basic poke. A good poke, sure. A good poke. You know, quick for what it is, eats up a lot of space. But, you know, it gives you access to, you know, doing a giant chunk of the enemy's life and damage, which you can't do with some of her other pokes. So practice your hit confirms. Once again, just set guard to random and just do the move, buffer the motion. And if you see it hit, then you press the buttons. And if you see him get blocked, just leave it and don't do anything else. It makes a move like this just have a lot more teeth, especially because once again here, she has some difficulty getting stuff from, you know, a bit of a range. And this gives her another ranged option to work with. Ain't nobody want to see them lose like almost 40% of their life off a basic light kick. And this is one of the tools Shermie has to work with. Now here's an important one. This is more thought experiment, I guess, but when and how to burn your meter. Meter is the most precious resource in this game. Meter makes everything go, right? So you got to make sure you use it efficiently. Like, let's take a basic example here. I see a lot of people use Shermie combos like this. They'll get their Hitconfirm, which is great. They'll go into EX spin kick, which is great because it's good for juggles. And then they'll do this. Get the move. All right, and go for the grab, anti-air grab super, right? 452. This is not a good use of your meter. Why? Because in the exact same scenario, if you do this combo instead, you'll get more damage than 452. You get 466. Now, admittedly, it's only a couple of points difference, right? But you have the exact same scenario opener. Either way, the enemy's going to be flung across the screen. You're not going to really get any pressure after the fact, right? So why not get more damage? So same deal here. Shermie whip. You can do the super and do the anti-air super, right? And the suplex super does do more damage. And sometimes I see people, they do the first hit and then do the suplexes. Oh, that way I get more damage. No. Once again here, same combo. All right. And when this is done, once again, we're getting less damage overall. 414 this time. This is the worst. So you got to understand when it's best to use the meter, and certain combo routes are just simply superior to other ones. Now, another thing, most of the time when you do an EX move with the bounce, realistically, sweep's your best option, right? But if you have 2 or more meters after the EX, then new things become available to you. Specifically, the level 2 anti-air super becomes available to you and does a lot of damage. So now you got your grab and you did 40% of the enemy's life total. Because it's so fast, it actually can connect from that bounce when a lot of things won't. Another thing, say the running grab. We just spent a whole section talking about how good this move is. There's obviously an EX version of the move as well. And it does more damage, so it does normally 100, it does 140. But I would suggest to you never spend the meter on this unless it's going to be the kill. So the EX version is basically the heavy version's range, but with the light version's speed, right? So it's faster, but has more range, does more damage. But however, realistically, you never want to use it basically past this range anyway. This is where it's just effectively unseeable and unreactable, right? So if you can use the damage to close out the round, sure, but otherwise save the meter. Shermie likes the meter. She wants to have the meter when the big moment's ready, you know, get the combo, all that kind of stuff, right? So don't burn it in situations like this unless it's gonna be the kill. Conversely, same idea here, the command grab. Don't do the EX version of the command grab, except for one situation, unless you're gonna get the kill. Yes, as we already went over, there are scenarios where you can get a lot of damage from it, for sure, absolutely. But it has very strong Oki by itself, like pressure, the basic grab. You're going to get a lot of potential setups. And then if you get the setup off, then you can start dumping your meter, right? But in and of itself, especially mid-screen, I wouldn't recommend burning bar on the EX command grab. So switch sides, right? Fair enough. Like, I'm in the corner, haha, now you're in the corner. That's great. And that's regular or EX. However, since it has that ground bounce, and we're in the corner now, we're in a position to kind of like dump meter in a way we normally can with Shermie. So if you're just looking to go absolutely berserk, this is the way to do it. This is the time to do it. Maybe you won't get the kill, sure, but you definitely got the damage in a way they're never gonna forget. If you're looking for low meter investments, instead of doing, say, the spin kick into a combo, I would actually suggest doing Shatter Strike instead, because Shatter Strike lets you go into the command grab and finish your combo with that. And also the damage is still respectable at this low combo stage versus higher scaling later on. And you're going to get all the benefits associated with the pressure after the base command grab. So if you're looking only to spend like that EX amount of meter, only half a bar, I would actually suggest using Shatter Strike over the normal B&B combo, because it's going to lead to more pressure after the fact. Although do beware, off a jump in, Shermie's power attack's like the worst in the game, basically. So you can only get it off a grounded combo starter or off a cross up. But off a normal jump in attack, you're gonna whiff, so just buyer beware on that. But otherwise, I do consider this the better low bar investment. So now let's talk Shermie's secret reversal. You probably know about the anti-air grab, right? It's immune to air attacks. Ground attacks, though, not so much, right? It's not going to help you out in any way. Even if you could invincible your way past all the moves, it's only attacks air people, right? So you have no defensive reversal on the ground, or do you? So remember that Shermie whip. So one of the things about Shermie whip is the heavy version is actually like way slower than the light version, like to the point where you basically cannot use it in combos. Like it just doesn't work, versus the light version works out great. But the thing is, the heavy Shermie whip is actually invincible to ground moves only. So in this situation here where Robert's trying to punch us in the face, we can actually Shermie whip that. As you can see here, punch is not happening. And you can say, oh, well, Shermie's low profiling it or something, right? So how about we try sweep instead, right? Let's see how this works out. Oh, invincible just the same, right? So it's a bit odd because normally reversals, like, they're invincible, period. Like, they don't discriminate against, like, how the move came out, but this move does. You try to use this against any kind of move in the air, and you are just going to get smacked. It cannot deal with air attacks at all. However, when it comes to any moves that originate on the ground, it'll go through them pretty as you please. And this is specifically normals. It is not invincible against fireballs either, but any grounded normal, this move is 100% invincible to them. So you don't have the catch-all, right? You don't got the Shoryuken that beats everything. You're going to have to learn which is going to be which. You got your anti-air defenses, and you have your ground defenses. And you're going to have to use them both at the right time. I've noticed a lot of people do not know this move is invincible against ground attacks at all. This move will save your life if you're getting against pressure. You're not just stuck and have no recourse. Also, as a bonus, since it is the Shermie whip, you can totally super after the fact. And now your reversal did almost 30%. A lot of other characters, you know, if they get that reversal, that's all they're getting. That's it. That's all, right? Or if they want a super, they got to do it immediately. They can't see if it hit or not. They just got to input the super immediately. Versus Shermie, oh, get literally all the time in the world to see if the move actually connected or not, and then you just go from the super from there, right? So as a reversal, it's a pretty good one. Well, okay, it's a pretty bad one, actually. Like, let's get real, right? Ground only, slow startup, but it's better than no options, right? So when people are just in your face and they're like pressuring you with lows and all that kind of stuff, this is a way out. So just keep it in mind. So Shermie has a mysterious power, and that power is located entirely in close heavy kick. Maybe it's the Orochi blood in her veins or something, but she has a property that's unique among all characters in the game, thanks to this move. So in the King of Fighters 15, when you knock someone down and you try to medium, it don't work. At least when you're directly beside them, because the enemy can throw you out of everything. Throws are frame one. A basic throw is a frame one deal, and if a strike and a throw conflict on the same frame, the throw always wins. So if you want to meaty someone, you have to be like a little further away, right? So the throw doesn't come out, and like whatever normal they're mashing will come out in full instead of the throw. Shermie does not have this concern. Like if I go for like close heavy punch or something, like I'm going to get thrown out just the same as anything else, right? Like it's not going to work. Close heavy kick though, as a meaty, hey, you saw right there? I didn't get thrown. What happened there? If I try like close heavy punch, okay, there you go. I got thrown. You see the animation came out just fine trying to meaty. I still get chucked out of it. But the close heavy kick, nah. So Shermie is unique in this. Her close heavy kick cannot be thrown. Period. Just can't be thrown. So let's try this different, right? So instead of a wake up basic throw, we'll do like a wake up command grab, right? And King of Dinosaur's fast grab is frame one. So let's try to medium with close. Oh, it didn't work, right? Close heavy punch, no dice. Even though we're obviously doing the meaty, you can see the animation start, we get grabbed out of it. But once again here, close heavy kick. Not, as you see here, just completely smacks him out of it. He does not get the grab at all. There is a couple characters in this game that you can meaty with certain buttons because it like moves them out of grab range. Like my Shiranui is a good example, right? But no one has, at least to my knowledge, no one has the property where specifically the move just cannot be grabbed at all. Maybe it's because she does this little hop and she's considered airborne during the move, which obviously means you cannot be grabbed. But yeah, so Shermie is allowed to pressure with heavy close normals in a way other characters simply cannot in this game. So when you get that knockdown and you're running forward, do not be afraid to just kind of go for the home run, right? You know, close, heavy, normal, into command normal, and if it hits, go into all that kind of stuff. You cannot wake up and mash throw against Shermie against this button. Now, just so you know, it's not to say you'll never be grabbed, right? Like Dinosaur, he has the slower grab with the armor. And I can do a meaty there, and it'll hit the armor, and then I get grabbed, right? So it's not that you're just forever throw immune in every possible situation, but in 99.9% of situations, you can just freely toss this out against any wake-up throw, and you're good to go. Just watch out for King of Dinosaurs and Clark specifically, because they have other options. Now, this is just a quick one, I guess, but don't forget to use the command normal in and of itself. It is a true overhead. Don't just only do, close heavy into command normal into combo. It does have a lot of value as it's a proper overhead, and it has some pretty good range as well. One of the things as well is it's one of her best max targets. So just do it and rock into the max and go from there. And even if she's the point character, her max potential is actually pretty decent. So even with the smallest quick max bar, still going to do a pretty reasonable chunk of damage. I think it's going to be like 340 something. 343, there you go, right? So off of an overhead that hits like from very far away, that people are, for the most part, not going to be expecting, it's pretty good. So just keep in mind, it's not only for combo fodder, it is a proper overhead in and of itself, and you can max cancel from it and get some pretty workable combos. So just keep it in mind. The command normal is really, really, really good. Now, let's just quickly talk some gimmicks. Everyone loves gimmicks. It's better than, learning to actually play the game for real, right? And Shermie's got some pretty basic ones and some more trickier ones. So one of the basic ones off the bat is, a big part of KOF is just jumping and attacking the enemy. So when you do, your hop at the enemy, just don't attack and then immediately go into your command grab, right? Being command grabs are frame one for Shermie. This one specifically, there is no possible chance to react or press a button against it. By the time it is even possible to perceive you did not hit a button, they are already being grabbed. So empty hop into grab is a pretty good one for Shermie, and it's one you'll probably get a lot of mileage out of. Also, another fun one is just simply, while you're looking to hit confirm in your combos and all that kind of stuff, like just close heavy punch into forward light kick into the command normal is already fine, right? It creates a good amount of pushback. Like, you're very safe from the distance it keeps you at. You're barely negative at all. But, why not put a little grease on the fire, right? So instead, like, oh, I didn't get the hit. Go into, like, heavy Excel spin kick and flip over the enemy and, like, change your position on the screen. Or even more fun if they're crouch blocking, the light version of Excel spin kick, if you're close enough here and, like, just doing, like, basic pokes or something, it'll actually cross them up while they're crouching. And this cross up is, everyone will get hit by this the first time around. Guaranteed. This is just so quick, people will get bamboozled. Also, a fun thing to note about the base versions of the Excel spin kick is the fact that they are super cancelable. Normally, most of the time you're using this move, you're using like the EX for combos and stuff, but the base versions can totally go into supers. So if you're looking to like quick hop over the enemy and just bamboozle them with a quick cross up, this is the way to go. It is actually much faster in total time than a hop. Like hop, jump, heavy punch, jump C is very good for cross ups as well. Don't get me wrong, right? And if you go for it, you can totally get like, the big boy combos, all that kind of stuff. But if you're just looking for like the fastest possible, you cannot react kind of stuff, like quick light Excel spin kick into a super is definitely going to be one of the things. And they'll be wondering, how exactly did I just get hit? All right, so now we're in the Oki zone. So specifically, we're going to be showing you how to follow up for maximum effect your pressure after your various command grabs. Because Shermie is very blessed in this regard, and it's a big part of her game plan. You're going to be able to create situations where you're completely safe no matter what reversals they have, or create mix-ups and a lot of fun stuff in between. So there's also timestamps for all these various things. So now it's time to learn, you got the grab, what exactly are you doing after the grab? So off the Shermie Spiral, one of the big things you get off the bat, and this is one of the easiest things to do, is a completely brain-dead setup that's utterly safe against all reversals. So all you have to do is get the grab, which, whatever, right? Then super jump forward, heavy punch. Simple as that. And now Iori going to be a saucy boy, and he's going to EXDP as fast as he can on his wake up, right? And his EXDP is the fastest reversal in the game. His reversal is 4-frame startup. Literally, there's no reversals faster than this. So if it can beat this, it can beat everything, basically. So once again here, we're just going to super jump forward, heavy punch. And sure enough, we got the block. If he doesn't do the move, then super jump forward, heavy punch, it just connects, as you can see, right? So either he's there to get hit, and then we can follow up, or we can block after the fact. All you have to do after the jump in, just tiny delay, and then go for the usual stuff you'd go for anyways. So once again here, reversal on, go for the setup, and I just did tiny delay, heavy punch, but I was holding back while doing it. So if he did the reversal, I was going to block. And if nothing and he just blocked, then he just blocked the move, whatever. Now, what about rolls? So same setup here, except when we go for the heavy punch, the close heavy, we're not going to delay it a little bit. We're going to try to do it as fast as possible while still holding back. And if he does a back roll, then we're going to catch it. As you can see there. So he did his reversal. He tried to roll out, but rolls can still be hit with regular throws, so we get it. And if he tries to do a forward roll, well, it's going to get caught just the same here. It's not going to save him. So we set the forward roll right now here, and we're going to catch it just the same. So there you go, right? So you have two effective options off this setup. Either when after you jump forward, because either way, the beginning's the same. You super jump forward, heavy punch. That is always the same after you go for the grab. So then you hold back, and then either do a tiny delay, hold back, then hit heavy punch. And if you hit, it doesn't matter. You still get the combos. If they block, it doesn't matter. You still get the pressure. But basically, it'll defend you against the reversal. So that's good. But it won't catch back rolls. It will catch forward rolls, but it won't catch back rolls. And the other version, you just super jump forward, heavy punch, and then hit back and heavy punch as fast as you can. And that will catch both rolls. If it hits them normally, you still get your combo. If they block, you still get your combo. But if they mash reversal, that will lose. So he's set to do the EXDP again, right? So if we do the punch as fast as we possibly can, then we get hit. So unfortunately, there's no one size fits all here, but the two options between them cover 90% of the options. It's simply, do you believe if he's going to do something defensive besides just block? Is he going to go for the wake up EX reversal, or is he going to go for the roll? So that's in a nutshell, basically. Tiny delay gets everything but rolls, specifically back rolls, and going as fast as you can gets everything but reversals. Now, if you're fighting a character without a reversal, one that doesn't have something to stop you from just smashing buttons, at which point there's nothing stopping you from just doing the fastest possible option every single time, because then their only reversal will be like a roll, and then it'll always catch the rolls. But just keep that in mind. So this is one layer of setup, and it's already a very strong one. So basically, once again, get your command grab. This is where all this is facilitated. Do not do the follow-up, because if you do the follow-up, you lose all this extra advantage, which make these setups work. Do your command grab, and then just run forward a little bit, and then jump. And if you do it that way, well, then you get a cross-up. Really that simple. Just run forward and jump, and then, of course, naturally, you can get full combos, all that kind of great stuff off the cross-up, right? You meterlessly get the command grab, and then if you get your hit, you dump all your meter. But the thing is, it doesn't always have to be a cross-up. You can also just run forward a little bit and stay the same side. Like, you do not have to cross up. It basically is how much you run. You only have to run a little bit. If you only run a real little bit, you'll stay the same side. If you only run a little bit extra, you cross up. Or conversely, you can run the exact same amount either way. Here, we're going to do the same amount of running, but we're going to do a hop instead of a jump. And then we'll stay same side, right? So it's not as visually imperceptible, but if someone's watching your distance moved rather than just your jump arc, that can help as well. The hop will always stay same side, and the full jump will always be a cross-up instead. So two ways to do it. Either run the same distance and full jump, or hop, and that's your left-right, or just run just a perceptibly further amount than the other run, and you'll get a cross-up, and if you run just a little bit shorter, you'll stay same side. It's really basic. It's just moving forward and jumping, right? But still, it's an effective left-right mix. It's pretty strong. And against enemies that are paralyzed, you can also just, once again, do nothing. oh, which side? And then I'm just going to grab you again and go right back into it from there. Also, just quick fun bonus on the cross-up version here. The cross-up version, for the most part, just completely blows through reversal. So if they try to reversal, they'll whiff, and then you can try to punish it on the other end. Now here's a fun setup off the running grabs. So the running grabs, once again, we already talked about the praises of the moves. It's a really, really good move, and you're going to get it a lot as long as you're playing correctly. And you also get a pretty decent setup off this. So what you want to do is this. It doesn't matter which running grab you get. The heavy version, the light version, the EX version, they all have the exact same knockdown. So you don't got to worry about that. And what you're going to want to do after any of these versions is immediately do it again. Specifically with the light version of the move. The light version has less overall frame, so that's the one you want to whiff. So get the move and then immediately do the light version of the move. Does two things. One, it builds a little meter, which is nice, right? Because you're doing a special move, and it gets us into position for where this is all going to work. So from there, we have two options to go with. One is them trying to be passive or retreating, and one is them trying to take the offense back. So after you do your knockdown and then you whiff the move again, here are your two options. Do a very tiny delay and then do the light version again. If you do it immediately, if the opponent is just trying to crouch block, you'll actually whiff because they still have like 1 frame left of throw protection on their wake up. But if you do even like a single frame delay, you'll get it. So if they're passive and just trying to block because they don't know what's coming, that's your option. Now, what if they try to roll out? A forward roll? Not so much, it turns out. What if they try to back roll this setup? Once again, not so much. As long as you time it correctly. At the very end, it'll still catch. It'll catch the roll at the very end, but as you saw in the corner, it was still a punish. So rolling doesn't work. And just sitting there and blocking, well, doesn't work. Now, what does work, unfortunately, is, well, challenging it, right? So if you're hitting any kind of buttons, you're going to get smacked. That's just how it is, right? It's not impossible to defend against. If you hit any kind of buttons, it'll defeat this setup. So what we do now is we don't do that additional throw. So if you know they're going to hit buttons, so after the other running grab just for space, do something like a sweep. And turns out it hits perfectly meaty. So it basically hits exactly the frame the enemy's waking up on. They cannot hit normal buttons against this at all. So if they try to do anything other than a full invincible move, if you go for a sweep or the chop or whatever, anything they press, they're gonna get smacked. And naturally, you get hit a few times, right? Once bitten, twice shy, right? They're going to start blocking it again or trying to roll out. And then we just go back to the old setup and it beats those. Now, against the invincible reversals, this is where you just chill for a second, right? And then you get your punish. But what if you don't want to wait? What if you want to take that thing head on and win? And conversely, take the very rare option if they try to jump out, which still would lose to any of the strikes because it hits truly meaty, but also beat the jump option. All right, so Iori's going to go nuts. He's going to go nuts. He's going to do it, right? So here's what we need to change. When we go for our empty grab to gain the space specifically, go for the heavy version instead. It's slower and it brings the enemy in, and otherwise is not ideal because we lose the frame advantage and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't work except for this one situation where we know they're going to mash. So once again here, all right, it's going to be crazy. It's coming our way. Now we do the heavy version instead. Oh, what happened there? So we went for our heavy Shermie whip. If you recall earlier in the video, it's immune to all ground attacks. And specifically in the case of reversals, it has more invincibility than most reversals in the game. So when both invincibilities run out, Shermie Whip wins in the end and gets the grab. So if you don't want to settle for being a normal person and you want to take on everything head on, do the Shermie Whip in their face, the heavy version, and whatever EX reversal or anything they try to do, you'll beat it out because it's a grounded move, and you have your anti-grounded move. So every time you get a running grab off, which should be a lot of times because it's not possible to react to when you use it from the correct distances, right? You get this little bit of a mix-up, and it's really, really, really good. Okay, so now here's a big one. Where do we put Shermie on team? Team placement's important in this game, and I'm here to tell you it is my belief overall Shermie is best served as the point character, the first character up at bat. And specifically because while every character in the game makes fantastic use of meter, right? Everyone has their crazy 5-bar near 100% combos. Sure, Shermie doesn't need the meter as much as other characters do. There's a lot of other characters that you put them in the back of the team, they are much happier to have the meter than Shermie is. Like, yeah, I can do my big fancy combo, does a million damage, this, that, and the other, but a lot of Shermie's strength, like, do not rely on this, right? While she can burn meter just like every character in the game can and do a lot of damage, a lot of her best stuff is like the setups we went over, right? Like the fact that she has amazing pressure after like grab knockdowns. This does not require meter to make this happen. This is good in and of itself. She has really good normals to bully people with, like that are difficult to contest. And the normals are better when the enemy has less resources to work with, right? So when you're point character versus point character, they shine just a little bit brighter because they have less bar, therefore less extra tools to work with. So when they're forced to stand on their own, that's when they shine at their brightest. And realistically, like Shermie's best combo basically is a bar and a half. She does not need much more than that. Past that is just luxury. She gets her good damage, sure, and that's about it. And even if you don't have a bar, even if you only have, you know, one singular EX to work with, which is reasonable for the point character, then she can go in like her Shatter Strike combos and just kind of set up the grab and then go back onto all the mix-ups again, right? Like her great cross-ups as well. That doesn't depend on meter. A lot of her best options have nothing to do with the amount of meter you give her. If you give her more meter, yes, she'll do more damage, but she does not need it. Like, if you put Shermie at mid instead of point, I'm not going to argue against you. That's fine, right? But I do feel she's best served as point because she can carry point a lot better than a lot of other characters in this game. Once again, if you want to do mid, I'm not going to stop you. I just really suggest do not put her at the anchor. Because there's a lot of situations, even if you give her 5 bars, she won't be able to spend it outside of, like, weird situations. A lot of other characters can use a lot of meter much better than her. So I recommend point overall, but if you want to do mid, I won't stop you. And that is the Shermie guide. So Shermie is a very competent grappler with a lot of good setups off command grabs. You're going to want to land those command grabs, but neither is she just chained to them. She can just very easily win whole games off only like jump CD and stand heavy punch because they're some of the best normals in the game. So if you're looking for someone who has that command grab flavor, but also can compete in neutral very well, and I was also pretty fast, you know, a lot of games, the grappler characters are like slow lumbering behemoths. Shermie definitely not so much. So if you're looking for a grappler that's kind of on crack, I guess you could say, you know, a turbo speed grappler, Shermie is definitely a great character for you, and I highly recommend her. Personally, she's one of the characters I've been playing the most so far, and I find her really fun to play. She's a blast. As someone who likes the grappling playstyle, I think she represents it very, very well. So be it neutral footsies or command grabs and setups associated with it, she's great for all these things. Obviously no fireball, so she's not zoning. Certain things she has, like certain aspects of the games like power attacks, hers is very below average. That means also her Shatter Strike as a tool to defend herself is pretty weak. But once again, she has invincible anti-air options and an invincible ground option. So as long as you know which one to use where, she still can have her defensive bases covered. And just big thumbs up. Shermie's been gone for a while. Shermie's been gone from proper King of Fighters games for about 20 years. So making her return, I think it's a really good return, and she's a very well done character in this game. And if you pick her, I don't think you'll go wrong at all. Anyways, my friends, that's it for the video. It's a long video. So if you could spare a like for the video, it'd be heavily appreciated because likes help out the videos big time. And otherwise, since we're at the end, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some King of Fighters.
This is the love we make.